you better make sure you don't miss any of those QuickTime events.
So why do we hate QuickTime events?
Who says we hate QuickTime events?
Welcome into episode 16 of QuickTime Event, brought to you by Middle of Nowhere Gaming. I am your host, Courtney Osborne, and today I am joined by Brian.
Hello, hello.
Landon.
Hi.
And Patrick.
What's up, guys?
Okay, Brian, why are we here?
We're here to talk about Dying Light.
Dying Light?
Dying Light.
Dying Light. Spoilercast. So that means right up front, everyone, if you have not beat Dying Light, turn it off. Go beat Dying Light right now. And, if you don't care about spoilers, then stay with us, Spoil it for everybody else. Go ahead and post this around everywhere, do all that stuff. But I do want to tell you, there are going to be a lot of spoilers. We're going to talk about the ending. We're going to talk about all the major points. And so if you don't want to know what happens, then turn it off now. Right?
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah.
You should pause it. You should pause it if you're on your phone or on YouTube or whatever, and just stare at that screen while you finish Dying Light, just knowing that you're one step closer to listening to us talk about it.
Exactly.
Do yourself a favor and finish Dying Light.
Yes.
Very.
Okay, normally when we record QuickTime events, we have a timer going for, anywhere between 2 minutes and 10 or 15, depending on if we're going for multiple topics or a major topic. I didn't really want to keep this on a short timer, and I kind of wanted to let this go for at least 30 minutes. So I am going to keep an eye on the clock and try to, keep this around that amount of time. That way it's not a long podcast because it is the QuickTime event for a reason, So we're going to try to keep this around a 30-minute podcast, from the start point. And, not much else to explain. You guys ready?
Yep.
Do it.
Alrighty.
Totally.
And go. Okay, so the ending. What'd you guys think?
Kind of confusing. I was kind of like, kill Rias already. I mean, I feel like Crane had so many opportunities.
Oh yeah, it dragged on for far too long.
Yeah, it was ridiculous by the end of it. I was like, really? It took you that long? Gosh.
I know, how do you take the time to cut off somebody's hand and not just, slice his throat? He was so lethal in that little, that little section of the game after you beat that first arena. He takes the time to, stab multiple people, but he can't just kill. That was bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
While playing the ending, though, I kind of felt like the main character, Crane, wanted it to end faster, too. Because how many times did he yell at Rise to just shut up and get off the radio? And, we saw that several times.
Well, and he had him, laid down against a brick thing or whatever. They were both laying there hurt, and he was like, I'm gonna make you suffer. And I was just like, no! Just slit his throat now. Don't make him suffer. This is not gonna end well for you.
I mean, he did it to Tahir. Why was this one so much harder?
Yeah.
Was it maybe because it was a mercy kill? I don't know. He seems to be very hungry for the mercy kills in this game. Wouldn't you agree?
I do.
Yeah, he had a conscience.
Hmm.
Now, okay, to the very beginning of the end, when you get up to that top, and he throws that knife at you, and it gives you that QuickTime event. I assumed nobody clicked it in time, right?
No.
Correct.
Yeah, it caught me off guard. There was not a single cutscene in the game that included a QuickTime event until that point. And I was so pissed. I paused it and threw my controller down. I was like, what the fuck? Techland, how do you do that to us?
I don't know if it was a time crunch thing to get it out. The 40 minutes leading up to that point and everything you had to go through, and it ended with 6 button mashes. Yeah, I was kind of pissed off about it.
I was more pissed off about the first QuickTime event, the one where the knife stabs you in the chest, which eventually, comes out. It helps you in the end when you're hanging off the edge, and then you pull it out to stab him in the neck and kill him. But it's like, I watched a Let's Play after I beat the game of that last scene, and I watched it of a guy who actually was able to click it in time, and it doesn't matter. It still stabs you in the chest. So, there's no way out of that QuickTime event. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just served as a warning, hey, you're about to step into a zone of bullshit and have to do a QuickTime event. That was the thing with me, is as soon as that popped up, it was oh, fuck, man. Because you knew that it was coming, and it didn't matter how the story ended there, I was still gonna end on a sour note because it's a QuickTime event.
Yep. And, not to make fun of our name, the QuickTime Event Podcast or anything, but that, you know, like, okay, so the QuickTime events throughout the entire game, there were what? When a zombie would grab you, you'd have to rapidly hit X or whatever button you are playing or console you're playing it on, or something like that. Or if you need to open a door, you rapidly hit it. Like, that was it. Those are the only QuickTime events. Patrick, you saying something?
Yeah, that's all I can think of. I mean, it was far and few. I mean, it was you had control of the character 99% of the time.
Yep. Until that last scene, and that last scene, those QuickTime events too, they were like split second. Like, they were mid-cutscene QuickTime events where it didn't slow down time. It happened real time, and you had to click the buttons in real time quick enough. Like, it was just, I don't know. It was a cheap way of doing it. I really do despise QuickTime events when they do it like that, when they throw them in the middle of a game like that.
I feel it takes you right out of the experience, because you're watching for the damn button prompts and what's going on screen.
Yeah. It feels like an adventure game, you know? Like, I don't know. I felt like we should have had an all-out duel with him or something, but I don't know. So, but about the ending, would you have done what Crane did whenever the GRE was contacting him and he decided to give the research to Dr. Camden? Would you have done that, or would you have given it to the GRE?
I would have given it to the GRE and just to get the hell out of there. I mean, after that point, I think I would have been like, my time's done here.
Save my life, please.
Yeah, like, just, I'm ready to go. Land a chopper, let's get out of here.
Landon, what would you have done?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, can we really trust the GRE?
They're shady.
Oh, they are. But then again, you know, living in Africa, probably for the rest of your life off the radar, probably isn't that easy, I imagine.
Yeah, I believe they're in the Middle East.
Oh, Middle East. Is that where it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
That seems really confusing to me, like, back and forth. Because this game reminded me so much like watching District 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I keep thinking, man, this game feels like it's in Africa.
It's, Haran is a fictional city that they chose for this game, and it's actually based off of a real city in, let's see, I don't remember now. It's a city, it was a real city in the Middle East, but they made a fictional one because it's no longer a city, it's just ruins now. And
yeah, according to Wikipedia, it's based off a city in Turkey.
Yeah, okay, that was it. Yeah, it was a city in Turkey.
Okay.
And they actually, modeled the Haran for the game off of Istanbul. So like that's how they chose it. It's like the melting pot of the world where it's got people from everywhere and it's just supposed to symbolize the entire world.
Okay.
But, so you don't know what you would have done?
Well, I would have likely, if that had been real life, I would have definitely taken a ride on the chopper, take my chances that way.
But you had survived for how long now? You know, like a week or so, or I don't even know how long it'd been.
It was a lot longer than a week for me.
You had killed hundreds of thousands of zombies. You don't think you could last a little bit longer to try to get the cure to Camden?
Possibly. I don't know. You'd think by now, what drives me nuts about these games is just the same with Evil Dead. You just want to like take a shower after you're done. Especially like in Evil Dead, if you picked Sam B, that's how I always felt, and that's kind of how I felt with this game too. I just like, man, you just got to get out of this environment. It kind of drives you nuts sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially after, like, it really was a good long story, and after that, as much time as we put into it to beat it, I kind of like, yeah, I think I'm done with this game for a little bit. Oh, DLC, I'm getting back in.
Brian, now what would you have done? Would you have given it to Camden or given it to the GRE and got the hell out of there?
I think at that point I would realize that I'd become such a super powered badass.
Right?
That I would do whatever my heart desired. And I think in that case I would go back to Camden. Plus, I mean, the thing with Crane is that he connected really fast to these characters.
Yeah.
And one thing I will fault the game on is that they make it obvious that he connects with these characters really fast, but I don't think they let the player connect with these characters much. I think Jade is the only one that I felt connected to as a player. Like, with Raheem, it was like give or take there's that moment on the rooftop and that stuff, but, it wasn't great. And so, I don't know. I would definitely try to save the people because I'm just gonna kill anything that I want anyway. But
I have to agree that Raheem death scene wasn't convincing. Now, if Crane would have been like, "Oh crap, Jade's never gonna sleep with me now. Her little brother's dead. I told her I wasn't gonna kill him." that would have been more believable because I felt they were way disconnected because the scenes between Raheem and him were so quick, and it's like, "Oh man, we're like best friends, but it was 2 minutes ago. Raheem, I'm dead now."
Yeah, I am right there with you guys. I didn't feel like I connected with Raheem whatsoever. Jade, I did feel connected to much more than the rest of them because we had more scenes with her or over the radio, things like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I think the big thing with Jade is that you have that mission where you're in the school together.
Yep.
But you don't really have a mission with anybody else, you know?
Nope. Very few of them, and most of them are not with them, but they're to go just retrieve something for them. That's just, I don't know. And it made me care even less about Raheem when he fucking stole the explosives and went out on his own. What the fuck? That pissed me off.
Yeah, at that point I just shook my head and I would have just let him go.
I fully expected him to be dead when we got there. I didn't expect to find him alive while he was injured, and ends up he was bitten and turned into a zombie. I just completely expected him to have died while he was there, and then the whole thing would play out with Jade just like it did. But just I don't know. I didn't care for Raheem whatsoever. I never felt connected to him, and so after discovering he was alive. And that he was injured, and we had to go and infiltrate the base and blow up the zombie base or whatever and come back. I didn't expect Raheem to be a zombie. Did that catch anybody else by surprise?
No.
I don't know why I didn't expect it.
That seemed too cliche to me. I'm like, he's gonna be a zombie. I'm gonna have to kill him, and now Jade's gonna be pissed.
The overall story had a very B-type movie, zombie cliche.
Oh yeah, definitely not near as bad as Dead Island. I will have to say, the writers did a far better job on this than they did on Dead Island, just as far as story-wise goes, how convincing it was. It was way more convincing than Dead Island, but yeah, still kind of cheesy at its moments.
Yeah, I think that as far as the easy thing to do in zombie scenarios is to turn people into them, to have them die. But the thing that kind of pissed me off, in both with Jade and Raheem, is that you see them turn, but you don't actually see them get bitten. And that, I think, creates a much more dramatic thing when you see someone get bitten and then turn and all that stuff. But with those two, it's you come back to them, and it's oh, by the way, here's a bite. Yeah. Now you're going to have to kill me.
That's true.
It was really cool, though, to see Jade go nuts on those 4 soldiers right as she was turning.
Mm. I actually thought it was even better, although I was a little fooled by with Jade, where he sees her as a zombie, and so he's going to trying to push her away, but then he gets stabbed with the injection, and it was him that was the zombie. I'm like, hey, that was pretty neat. Okay, I'll accept that.
Let's talk about this whole Jade scene. What did you guys think about the freaking zombie high dream that he had?
Straight out of Far Cry. It just reminded me so much of Far Cry.
Shangri-La and Far Cry?
Yeah, that and even in Far Cry 3 when you have the Roz.
Oh yeah.
Or Voss, not Roz. Voss sequences. Where it's like a dream world but you're fighting him. That's what it reminded me of.
I felt like they didn't give you very good direction of where to go in that dream. There was a few occasions, obviously there was normally a walkway somewhere, but there was a few of those times where I was just hella lost. I was like, I have no idea where I'm going, because you could just hear her talking in the distance, and you didn't even know, you didn't know if there was no directive or there was no pointer or whatever leading you the way. And you get to that end point or closer to the end where you have to jump up on the pole and jump from pole to pole to pole. Did anybody else have trouble with that point?
I fell off a few times. I finally figured it out. Just climb all the way to the top and you'll be okay to get into the next one.
I climbed to the top of every one of them and I still had trouble. With that last one, the last pole, for some reason I could not aim it right. And even when I would hit R1 or whatever, when you would jump to it and you're supposed to grab it, you click R1 to grab, it wouldn't work. And I fell to my death probably 20 times in that same spot.
Oh wow.
So frustrating.
Yeah, I didn't have that much of a problem. Did it get rid of the little dot in the middle of the screen for that sequence? Because I had trouble aiming it too.
I think it did. I think it did get rid of it. But, so were you guys upset when Jade turned?
No. I think there was some sense of foreshadow at when, Raheem turned. I was like, oh, Jade's gonna be next. I don't know. I thought it was a type of foreshadowing for her death.
Jade turning was where I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Kill the guy and get me the hell out of here.
Yeah, I think Jade was gonna die from the first second that you met her. Like, you knew that she was that sacrificial lamb that kind of like gets you through the game. Like, she's your motivation at some points, it seems, to like do the good things. And so you knew, being a dark zombie game, that she was gonna die. But I mean, it kind of sucked.
It was kind of the breaking point for Crane, you know? It's, basically everybody he had cared about had been taken away from him, you know? It was his final motivation that there was no way in hell he was going to be stopped, and he was going to take down Rise. And, you know, that definitely would have forced me to, because, she was the only love interest. He was the only pussy he was going to be getting in that city.
You know, I kind of like that, though, is that there was that tension kind of built a little bit, but they never explicitly said it. It's kind of nice to have a game and a story like this where it doesn't outright say, like, I loved you, or like there's no climactic like kiss right before she turns into a zombie or any of that bullshit. It's just kind of like, this is how the real world works. Like, it's not always like, oh, I love you, and now I'm dying.
Now, Landon, you brought up something about the way they both died.
Oh yeah, I found it interesting how the writers decided to make Crane kill both Jade and Raheem by snapping their neck. I mean, he wiped out that entire bloodline with his bare hands.
Yeah, I actually didn't notice that. Like, that's really interesting to think about.
It kind of is. I kind of blew my mind a little.
Especially that you don't kill very many characters with your hands in this game.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting that you would do it in these cutscenes.
Right, that's what I was thinking. And, you know, like, you can beat a zombie to death with your fist, but I think you can kick him to death. I don't think I ever beat one to death with my fists, but... Yeah.
Maybe to make it super personal, I guess, could be reasoning.
I guess they could, yeah. But, yeah, that's, that kind of bugged me. So.
Okay, so there's one more major death in the game that I think we should cover real quick. And I actually think that this one affected me more than their family dying, than Jade and Raheem. You remember when Dr. Ziri died?
Mm-hmm. That
caught me off guard. Like, I didn't really expect him to make it out of there, but at the same time, I was just like, kind of just, you know, my stomach fell through. It's like that kind of, or my heart fell through my stomach kind of feeling. Like, I was like, no! I really liked him! He was an awesome character.
Don't die! We really liked him. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, he's like the sage old man that just doesn't die in the story.
Yeah.
Now, was there some kind of was he working for the GRE? Wasn't something like that revealed whenever we find Dr. Camden late in the game?
Somebody was working with the GRE. I think one of the actual runners from the base was actually working for them when you met Camden. He had mentioned them because he showed him the photo.
Yeah, wasn't that Rice or not? I don't remember. Did you guys find Rice's apartment later on? Did you guys?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, there's a
where is it?
There's a side quest that'll take you to Rice's apartment. And you can get his gun, and it's a pistol with like 500 damage or something like that. It's a huge amount, way more than the guns do normally in the game. But you could find like pictures of the area and some like med kits and stuff and a little bit of backstory about, you know, why he originally came there or something. While we're on that topic though, there are so many side quests and like little Easter eggs and references and things like that in the game to find. It's ridiculous. I've never played a game with that many.
I was bothered by the ridiculous amount of teddy bears. I'm like, cause I kept thinking, oh, teddy bear. Is that a secret? Can I get the home run mod with this? I kept thinking that, like, oh, that drove me up the wall.
I kept thinking of BioShock every time I saw a teddy bear.
That's a good one. Now, did you guys seek out any of the Easter eggs?
No, I saw you do the Mario thing though at some point.
Yeah, I did the Mario one, and I did the Plants vs. Zombies one, and I had seen several more. Like there's a Doctor Who one, there's a few The Last of Us references. There's all kinds of Easter eggs.
I recognized something really early on in the game. Now that you mention it, because I finished The Last of Us Remastered right before I started this, and there was something really familiar, and I caught it. Yeah, it was in the first section of the game. I can't remember what it was though.
There's a few different clicker zombies in the game they're already dead. There's somebody who's turned into a zombie and then been killed, and like their face is all deformed and stuff, and it looks like a clicker. I don't know, that Mario one and the Plants vs. Zombie one, both of those are on our YouTube if you want to go find those when I found them. Those ones caught me off guard. Like, those are so cool. And, props to Techland for including so many different Easter eggs in this game. There's secrets, Like, did you guys find any of the secret weapons?
Just that EXP caliber or whatever it is, that sword?
Yeah.
That's the only one I found.
Patrick,
the sword, and then a couple of the blueprints, like, climbing at the very top of the bridge, there was something, and I picked up a flag somewhere, too, and I wasn't sure what it was for.
Yeah, what was the flag for? That was from another game, too.
There's actually, like, 50 collectible flags in the game, something like that. Yeah, they're at random little areas, like, normally high up on top of buildings and stuff like that. But, did you guys find the machete? I don't remember what its name is. You have to climb up on one of the apartment complexes, you have to drop into a hole, and then there's a little box, like a toolbox, and you actually have to kick it to open it like 76 times for it to finally open. And it releases this blueprint to make this machete that has, fucking 500 or 700 or 800 damage, something like that. It's a huge amount of damage. And like the entire time you're sitting there kicking it, he's like commenting about how he should just move on and don't worry about it and stuff like that. And whenever it finally opens, he's like, finally. It's so funny.
I didn't see that one. I have to go back.
Yeah, you guys need to go look that up and find out where it is. That's
well,
awesome.
Wait, hold on. So the machete, but here's the thing with that though, because I remember once I hit survival level 25, the machetes were already at what, 900, 950?
Yeah,
aren't they for damage?
Yeah, way up there.
So is this blueprint for one that has less damage than that, or is it like you get the blueprint early on in the game and the machete's just... okay.
Yep, all these secret weapons are for the beginning of the game. It's the correct machete. It's a melee weapon, and its name is a nickname of Techland's optimization lead, and it takes 70 to 80 kicks to open it, and you'll get the blueprint. It's on a rooftop north in the slums, and it's got 500 damage, 32 durability, and 218 handling. And so it's very, very nice. And it says correct on the blade, and it's just so badass. All of the blueprints and secret weapons are just supposed to be powerful for the beginning of the game, before you get super leveled.
Oh, that's depressing. Kind of like I'm done with the game. I want to play through it again now. I'll go through and get them now, but I was really hoping to come across something like that on my first playthrough.
Yeah, now that hard mode is coming out, it'd be a good time to start over and then look for those at the very beginning.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to replay it. I'm so excited to replay it, go through and get the rest of the collectibles and things like that, because I want to platinum it whenever the trophies are unglitched, because there are a few trophies that are glitched. And I had another question here. Did you guys scan the QR code that's in the tower at the beginning of the game?
No.
Nope.
Did you guys see when I posted it in the general chat on our Mong general chat?
Yes.
I don't
Landon
believe so.
Or Patrick?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I think I saw you post it. I don't think I clicked into it though.
There's a little bitty QR code on a poster in the tower. And I was, it's probably 15 minutes into the game whenever you get into the tower or something like that. And so I'm sitting in there and I'm walking through, looking at everything, talking to everybody, and I see this QR code and I'm like, what the hell is that for? Why would they put this in the game? I was like, I've never scanned a QR code in my entire life. And I am going to download something so I can scan this. And so I did. And it brings up this entire website. I believe it's Haran-city.com. I'm pulling it up now on my laptop just to check. Yep, it is. Okay, so they have an entire website devoted to the city of Haran. And they made this very, very deep backlog of blogs and things about the city, and you could retrace the steps of when they first found the infection, how it spread, and when they declared it an epidemic and stuff like that. It's so cool. You can go to their city hall stuff. You can go to the residents page, the visitors page. They actually have a city hall phone number you can call, and you can call it and you'll get their voicemail or whatever. It'll say that, they can't come to the phone because there's an emergency or something. I called, oh my god, it's just, they took the time to add in all of this extra stuff. That is so cool.
Dang. I didn't know all this.
That's really awesome. I really appreciate this game for the little stuff like that and how detailed and vast this city is. It's a living, it's definitely a character in the game itself.
Oh yeah. Now, do we actually know why the virus is there? Did we find out anything about the cause of the virus or anything?
I never came across anything to hint at it.
Never.
There was one, I did do all the first thing I did as soon as I could for every, those, what do they call them? The quarantine zones.
Yeah.
Those were great. Yeah, I really wish they'd add 50 million more of them suckers. Those were my favorite part of the game. And, yeah, because those were the only things that gave you that left notes that would say about the first one. It talked about the alpha quarantine. It was pretty much zero where the zero area was. And there's a note in there that kind of talks about it where the people are. I think it says something like them getting sick and turning, but I mean that's about all we know. Yeah. From the quarantine areas.
Now I do remember. That there was a meteorite that crashed and that they had talked about, there was a crazy guy in Old Town who talked about how it was aliens and stuff. They were
side quest guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We know, there is a virus or was it because of the meteorite? Did that not have anything to do with anything? Was it just a meteorite that didn't have anything to do with it or not?
I think it was just there, and was the crazy guy... But is that the one where he left you with that gun that does nothing?
I don't remember. Maybe.
'Cause I remember there's that gun and I never read into it. I haven't followed up on it yet.
I'm looking something up on it right now, and people are talking about how the meteorite did cause the Haran virus and how it got into the water and it spread and it's like a rabies-like virus. But then there are other people who are saying no, that has nothing to do with it. So, cause he references the reptilians and the Illuminati and the Freemasons.
The first time you meet the doctor in the trailer outside of the tower, he makes a couple references to rabies.
Yeah, he does. How it's similar to it. I don't know. Maybe that's something that we'll find out later.
Yeah, maybe.
But, going off of that, is there a future for the franchise? Is there a future for Dying Light? Can they do anything after the story we've already played through? What do you guys think? Brian?
I mean, I think anything can turn into a sequel or a series of things, even if it's something where they, that's the thing with the ambiguous ending that they gave us, is that we don't know what happens next. Maybe the cure doesn't work, or maybe it's one of those things where they want to do a prequel, because the world that we enter as Crane at the very beginning of the game is already very much established as this shithole. Yep. So maybe something that takes you through the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah, you could definitely be there during the beginning of the outbreak, because by the time we land there, the GRE drops, the supply drops have already been going on for a long time. There's already 2 different towers established as the leadership factions. That has all been happening for quite a while, so there's definitely time to play. Landon, do you think there's a future for the series?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, Dead Island, I kind of felt like Dead Island was a game that They didn't really put much time into advertising, not near as much as Dying Light. They advertised the hell out of Dying Light, and I think it's doing great. I'm sure when the sales come out and they say how many copies they've sold, it's going to be pretty decent. It's definitely going to be higher than Dead Island. I mean, playing in the night was such a different experience. I think that brought a lot of people to the genre.
And actually, Dying Light was the #1 selling game last month. And it broke the record for the fastest selling new IP or new horror IP in the United States.
Yeah, I think it did. Didn't it do 1 million in the first week?
Yep, something like that, and had over 1 million players. Which who knows if that means people stole the game or not.
Yeah, I mean, you got to also think they made a Spider-Man 3. Anything can be a sequel.
Oh, I definitely think there's a future for this franchise. I think it brought in a lot of people who usually tend to ignore these type of games or aren't really into them. I'm one of them myself. I'm not really into the whole zombie game, and I picked this up with no expectations, and I just walked out smiling for the most part.
Yeah, similar to you, Patrick, what you just said, I had been really excited for Dying Light for a long time because, like Landon said, they had been advertising it. We have known about this game for like 2 years, maybe even 3. And so I was super pumped for it. But then once I started seeing the delays happen and it get pushed back, my expectations slowly started to drop. And by the time it was released and I was signed up to review it, I really went into it expecting it to be Dead Island. I expected it to be, an okay game, but really not great at anything. And, within that first few hours of playing it, I was just like, wow, this is really, really good. I, did not expect that to be the case.
Yeah, I had a hard time putting it down. Even if we go back to the last mission and the Gauntlet part, I just sat there and just kept going at it until I got through it. And I was like, I gotta do this.
Yeah, I died more times on that last mission than I did in the entire game combined. Falling off the cliff or falling off the tower, just not making jumps and stuff. Oh my god, I was horrible at that.
Yeah, I had the same problem. That was in the last mission, between going through the sewers and then going through the tower, I think I used more boosters and more camouflage than through the rest of the game combined.
I used more firecrackers during that. When you were running through the sewers being chased by all the different volatiles and stuff, I just kept throwing down firecrackers at the side of the tunnels just because it would, it would deter them. They would take them off for me for a while, be able to make the next jump or miss the next jump and realize I had to go a little bit more to the right.
I was able, you know how the Gauntlet starts with that screaming little baby zombie, right?
Yeah.
I was able to drop kick that, so it stopped, and that's the run I made it, and I just kept boosting over to Voltide's heads, and I just went through it.
I got those babies.
The babies? Yes, I wanted to get to this part so bad. That was actually, you guys know the little mission you did where you didn't have your weapon?
Mm-hmm.
You know what they did wrong with that is they should have made that part mandatory to play first, because I came across another baby before I did that thing, and so it was no surprise to me it was going to be a zombie. That would have scared the hell out of me 10 times worse than it already did.
Yeah.
I really think that they missed out on an amazing opportunity by not putting the baby in more often. Missed opportunity. That was a great enemy. I love that thing.
I mean, there were several side quests that included them. I remember one of them where I was in a torn down hotel or something, and there's this awful piano playing in the background, and then a baby crying, and like there's no zombies, and the power is just completely out, and so you just have to use your flashlight. And I was just like, on edge the entire time, and it takes a good 15 minutes to even find that screamer zombie, the little baby, and so like you just have to listen to it cry while you're creeping through this dark hotel hallway. Oh god, ugh.
Yeah, that was great. And the first time you came across the baby, I'm sure you probably left a pile on the floor too, huh?
Exactly.
They did a great job with that. I loved the baby. It was a wonderful addition. Berserkers are fun too, and I also, what was that called? Not the Berserkers. What's those big guys that charge you in the second half of the game?
Devastator, I think.
Yeah. They needed those way more too. Those guys were so fun to rumble with. Because normal zombies, the ones with the big rebar, those things were just so too easy to kill. And that guy was the only thing that could put up a decent fight. That actually, I felt like once you kind of hit 25, you're like, nothing could kill me.
Yeah.
I think the worst one for me was the boomers behind the doors.
Oh, God.
Yeah, those are so annoying.
I would be sprinting from something, you know, and I would run into a hallway or whatever, and as soon as I do that, I see that thing step out, and I'm like, no!
And
Explode.
I'm so glad my wife was not home during those moments when those guys got in the area. Oh.
It was like the middle of the game they showed up, and like it just seemed like every door you opened, he was behind it.
Okay, so there was one moment. I don't know if it happened to you guys more. It only happened to me once. But every time you open a closet or one of those, you know, hallway closets or things like that, to find a few supplies, there was not a single zombie waiting in one of those until about 40 hours in the game for me. They finally did one time in Old Town. I opened up one of those closets and a zombie jumped out at me and I fucking pissed my pants. I screamed and I was like, I've been waiting the entire game for this. And they finally got me used to there being no zombies in them and one jumps out. Oh,
yeah, I swore I read something somewhere, people saying about them in the closets, and I was playing. I'm like, I'm not seeing this anywhere. And it was in Old Town towards the end of the game where one flew out.
I didn't find any of those guys.
It only happened.
Yeah, it was just a one.
And it never happened again after that either. It only happened that one time when I got to Old Town, and then after that, no more. And so, like, you know, they got me used to it. They got me used to there being no zombies, and then all of a sudden there was one, and so then the rest of the game, I was super careful. I was like, there's gonna be one. There's gonna be another one. I know there is. And there never was. So I don't know. Alright, is there any more major talking points we need to go over?
I got one where I'm still a little lost.
Alright, what you got, Patrick?
The zombie tissue sample towards the end with the doctor in the lab, I felt that was kind of rushed.
Yeah. I mean, what would you have liked it to have been?
It just seemed like, you know, after the whole Jade thing, that just, you know, I had kind of forgotten about that, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, here's this again, and now we gotta kind of wrap this up a little bit. Yeah, I had definitely, the whole Jade thing was going on and going after Rise. I forgot that the tissue sample was kind of, you know, story in there. Yeah,
it did kind of feel like some of the story parts of it at the end were a little bit rushed. It felt like there was more gameplay stuff, like they're constantly making us run away, you know, dodge all the zombies, but there wasn't a whole lot about the whole tissue sample and the cure and stuff. I don't know. I do like the way it wrapped up. I like that there was an ambiguous ending.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was kind of nice. Ambiguous endings aren't necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of like the end of The Last of Us, where it's just like, it's not necessarily the most satisfying ending, but it's really proper for the game. Yeah. And I thought that that's kind of how this ending was.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was not disappointed in it. It was
Aside
good.
from that fucking QuickTime event.
Yeah.
God damn it.
On that note, I think we can go ahead and wrap up this spoiler cast. You could email us if you have any good topics or any questions for the Mong podcast. So topics for QuickTime event or questions for the Mong podcast at contact.mong@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter by searching for @mong.com, all spelled out. And then you can find all of our podcasts and spoilercasts and Let's Play videos and video reviews and trailers and stuff over on YouTube by searching for Mong Network. And then you can find us on Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram by searching for Middle of Nowhere Gaming. And of course, the website, middleofnowheregaming.com, where you can find all of our latest editorials, news, reviews, features, all the good stuff. And then you can find us all on Twitter. You can find me at Osborne_2009. You can find Brian at
El Padre Oso.
And you can find Landon at...
Wait, which one is this for? Twitter or
yes,
Facebook?
Twitter.
I can't remember my Twitter name. It's on my...
That's awesome.
It's on the website, I know that.
Let's see.
Yeah, just go to our staff page, and then you can add everybody at once.
There you go.
It is Mr. Uncle Muscles.
Oh, that's also my PSN name and also my Xbox Live name.
Nice. And then you can find Patrick at
PatGar36.
PatGar36. Thank you guys for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man, it was fun.
Good night and good luck. Mong!
Mong.
Man.
Mong.